Scots. On September 18th, our people will take to the polls to decide once and for all if Scotland should declare its independence. Now, both sides of this argument have valid points. The freedom-loving heirs of the Highland tradition, and those who enjoy crawling like worms beneath British boots. The most recent polling shows that we are split 50-50 on the matter, and I am hesitant to throw my support to either side, be it the right one or the obviously wrong one.
All right, let's just say the groundskeeper Willie may have his mind made up, but in just hours from now, will true Scots have their minds made up, deciding to stay or go? This is big, this is now, and this is fiery, and not remotely funny.
The English colonel telling me to lose weight. Oh, I'm a hard case, he says. Well, listen up, Sonny Jim. I ate a baby. Oh, aye, baby, the other white meat. Baby, it's what's for dinner.
This is our way of bringing this international story home to you. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and by this time tomorrow, we should know whether Scotland will be part of the United Kingdom or not. For now, it is simply too close to call, and it could come down to about 350,000 undecided voters. But no matter which side you're on, emotions are certainly running high.
They thought it would be an easy pushover. They thought they could terrify us. The Scots aren't easily scared.
I think it would be a disaster for Scotland, and I am deeply worried.
I think it's time for us to stand on our 2 feet. Let the world see what Scotland can actually do.
The English and the Scots, we agree to hate each other. But if anybody attacks us, we fight together.
It's about the future of Scotland and the next generations.
This is a race that is so defining, so close, and getting to be so big. We're all over every single facet of it. On the Fox Business Network, going live at 5 a.m. If the Scots do bolt, is it going to give all of us a jolt? Now, ahead of my very special coverage, hours from now, a preview now. First of all, with Amy Kellogg in Scotland, with the very latest on how those yes vote fears could translate into a run on Scottish banks. And we got Alan Smith, a member of the Scottish National Party, who says the time for independence is now. And then, of course, this guy, you know him, the former Vice President of the United States, Dan Quayle, our first big guest on the impact all of this could have on businesses here. We begin with Amy with the latest from Scotland. Amy.
Hi, Neil. Well, the more you talk to Scots on the street, the less your gut really feels how this is going to go. As you mentioned, it is really on a knife edge. At times, it's getting ugly. Families and friends are fighting amongst each other over what is the best way to go. There are some peculiarities, I should say, about this particular referendum. First of all, it's only people who actually live in Scotland who can vote. So you could be a fifth-generation kilt-wearing, haggis-eating whiskey baron born in a castle, but if you live in London now, you don't get to vote. You could be a European diplomat temporarily posted in Edinburgh, and you can vote. 16-year-olds can vote, and that was presumably the Scottish National Party believing that they would be bravehearts all saying, yes, we want our independence. It turns out the really young people are tending towards no. Lots of promises are being made about a sort of socialist utopia if Scotland goes its own way. But a lot of the naysayers are saying there's no information about how this will all work. The bottom line, a lot of this is driven by emotion. And here's what some Scots we spoke to on the street today had to say.
There's too much uncertainty. Alex Salmond hasn't given us proper reasons. It's all promises and no substance.
History, historical things, and I think it's better as a team we all pull together.
We should definitely take hold of this because we don't get many opportunities to do things like this. So, freedom.
Now, Britain's banks have sent millions of banknotes to Scotland just in case there's a yes vote and panic and a run on the ATM machines. The top banks in Scotland have said that they will move their headquarters to London if there's in independent Scotland. From Deutsche Bank in Germany to Alan Greenspan in the United States, there have been warnings, Neil, as you know, about the effects on the economy worldwide, the implications of a yes vote. But again, there's so much that's unknown. It's unknown whether Scotland will be able to get into the EU again, if it applies for that, and to NATO. So very much is yet to be understood. And in the meantime, the emotions are flying, and it is hard to believe that there are 6 to 20% of people, Neil, who don't even know which way they're going to vote tomorrow morning.
That is amazing. One of the reasons why we're live bright and early at 5 a.m. Eastern Time to gauge this and how it could be going, because it could redraw the entire map of Europe. This coming into us, though, if Wall Street is concerned about a sudden shake-up in Western economies, and had a funny way of showing it, the Dow sprinting to a record today, 17,156.92. Now, a lot of that was buoyed by the Federal Reserve and very, very dovish comments about interest rates not going up anytime soon. But a lot of it was a lot of sanguine kind of reaction to what's going on in Scotland, that it won't happen, that Scotland will not leave Her Majesty's kingdom. The former Vice President of the United States, Dan Quayle, on the fallout if just the opposite occurs. Mr. Vice President, good to see you.
Good to see you as
You have
well.
some Scottish blood in you, right?
I do have a little Scottish blood. I like the way you speak a little Scottish.
Well,
I will try to do it. It's
Watched a
many
lot of
gen-
Austin Powers movies.
There you go.
But what do you think? I mean, the President has already indicated he hopes this, the United Kingdom sticks together. Our official policy is that that should be the case. Most global leaders say the same thing. What do they fear?
I think they fear if Scotland does vote for independence, which I hope they don't, and I don't think that they will. They're going to go right up to the abyss and look into it and vote no. And the reason is because it will start a domino effect. You know, who's next? Is it Northern Ireland? Is it Wales? Is it Catalonia? There's the rise of nationalism.
Catalonia in Spain. That's been bubbling for a while.
Well, yeah, we'll revisit Quebec again. So I don't think it's going to happen. There are a couple things. I do not believe that these referendums on something this important should be decided with 51%. Let's just say it passes. That means 49%, or say it's 50-50, are absolutely opposed to it. To do something like this important, you should have at least 60%. Therefore, the country really wants to go in this direction. A just simple majority, I don't think, really works.
What is your fear, Vice President? Is it that all of a sudden we hear talk it's going to lead to a run on the euro, that the currency's going to feel it. The Brits could feel it. It might lead to Cameron's resignation in Britain. I understand and hear a lot of that, but maybe none of that happens.
Well, forget about the political ramifications. You know, whether Cameron would stay or go, it wouldn't be, you know, a good thing for his administration to preside over this. But, you know, you had this earlier with the run on the banks. What are you going to do about the currency? What are you going to do?
Well, the Scots want to stick with the pound. That's a lot easier said than done.
Well, London's not going to allow that if they leave. And the way I understand it, there's actually an 18-month transition period.
That's right.
And my guess, if it does pass, I don't think it will, but it might. You know, there's a lot of libertarians up there, and they had the Scottish Parliament in 1998, so this is sort of the next step. Once you get the Parliament, then you have full independence. But that 18-month transition period, my guess is if they would say yes, within that period of time, they'll figure out how to say no. Because it's not good for the Scottish people.
Well, who would take advantage of the vacuum then? Is there a fear that Russia tries to meddle in Scottish affairs, or what?
It's just more chaos.
Yeah.
It's chaos with the European Union, because people feel that if, in fact, that the Scottish members of Parliament are no longer members of Parliament, then the Tories will have a very strong majority, and the majority in the Tory party would really like to get out of there.
It's not like Scotland's going to get communists, though, right?
Well,
I mean,
well, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about what's going to happen with, you know, the UK. The UK will be more inclined to withdraw from the European Union. I don't think that that's a good thing for England. I don't think it's a good thing for the European Union. It just has this domino effect, and it's not good. It's not good for. Look, it's emotion.
Yeah.
You know, if you're up there in Scotland, you'd be up there. This is really emotional. And what's interesting in the few sound bites you had, the pro-independence people were very emotional. Independent Scotland, we want our freedom, we want our liberty, we're all bravehearts. Fine, that's emotion. People on the other side saying, folks, this is a disaster. I mean, it is a disaster, and I think it, I don't know how much of a disaster it would be if they'll do it, but it would be a disaster. So if you listen, just take a step back, and if you listen to the two sides, one's on reason, one is saying, here's what's going to happen. You've got nobody of real credibility outside of Scotland, and most of the thinking people, I think, inside of Scotland are opposed to it. No one from the outside is saying, this is a good thing. So you need to listen to collective wisdom in this case.
But you know, I was
Collective
thinking
wisdom says,
when you were coming here, and I was thinking we had 40 more countries added to the United Nations since 1980, and a lot of them have come for courtesy of the breakup of the old Soviet Union. I understand that, but it's hardly out of character for the world to witness these circumstances. Some peacefully, others certainly what's going on in Ukraine, not nearly that. But then, you know, when you think of Czechoslovakia breaking away from the Czech Republic, it went fine. But what makes you fear this?
But that's all new. First of all, you're talking about the United Kingdom.
But they've been shrinking for a long time.
Yeah, they've been shrinking for a long time, but not with Scotland. Scotland has always been, you know, somewhat of a challenge for them. As I said, they gave them the Parliament in 1998. They have more independence. Cameron and everybody else, the other two parties are up there promising certain things that are going to be done if they vote no, which I don't know how much it's going to be. But it would be, I just do think it would be very severely damaging to the Scottish people. And I think that there's also geopolitical ramifications because this just starts to snowball. And where is it going to end? The Czech Republic, you know, that was after the fall of the Soviet Union. And you have two distinct countries there. I mean, you've been to Scotland and you've been to England. I mean, they speak the same language. They fought for a long time.
But the golf courses aren't going to go away. The oil doesn't go away. I always think, and you're the expert here, that we make dire calls on something that might not be so bad.
Well, you won't know until you do it. I do think it would be dire. I do think it would be semi-disastrous. There's all sorts of things, pernicious things that would happen. And, you know, you just had it on your clip there. I mean, just think of the run on the bank. So I think the Scottish people, they love liberty, they love freedom, they like to be, you know, in the spirit of Braveheart. But when they really think this thing through, I hope they don't do it. But, you know, it could be close. I think they have early voting over there. So the early votes could have been cast before, you know, just on
But
motion.
it takes them a long time to count ballots.
But if your report is right that the 16-year-olds and to the 18-year-olds are favoring the no vote, that is a switch because the yes campaign folks are the ones that lowered the voting age, thinking that they would vote yes.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yes.
Mr. Vice President, always good seeing you, sir.
Thank you.
To your family. All right, I mean the Scottish relatives too, by the way. Is the Duchess then going to be going Dutch? And is James Bond going to get his way, shaken or stirred? And what about J.K. Rowling? Well, you name it, almost every famous Brit is jumping all over this. And we will be all over it, starting at 5 a.m. Whose idea was it? 5 a.m. All right, on the Fox Business Network, and we've got some famous Scots and Brits of our own, like actor Brian Cox, who's leading the fight for Scottish independence. Andrew Lloyd Webber's daughter, Imogen, she's here, says that the United Kingdom should stay alive, to the Vice President's point. We've got former UK Parliament member John Brown, who says if divorce does happen, this one's going to be nasty, this one's going to be expensive. We'll be keeping a close eye on the European markets as well. As the Vice President pointed out, they're factoring in this not happening. Scotland and Great Britain remaining together. If that doesn't happen, then Katie barred the door. It's the kind of coverage you can only get on Fox Business, and it all kicks off at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. I need my beauty sleep. But I'm doing this for you because I think you deserve it. In the meantime, we fear that ISIS is already here, right? Does this New York arrest on the